From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Heads Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Well, it's finally Friday, and you know the cool and unsettled weather pattern we've been dealing with, we can finally put that behind us. However, the area of low pressure that's been responsible for that is still over Nevada, and we're on the back side of the flow of that area of low pressure. That's going to bring some clouds, maybe a sprinkle or two for parts of, say, Lassen, Modoc County, Plumas County, but don't count on much. Here is your Friday, September 12th, Krueger's Quickcast. Yeah, we got that out. Here's a look at your headlines. Mainly dry and warmer for today, with dry conditions mainly over the weekend. And I say that because there's a slight chance for a sprinkler or two Sunday morning, mainly for the coast. Even the inland areas have a very slim chance, and then east of that should remain dry. And then highs closer to normal for next week, which is around the mid-90s in the valley. So, speaking of the valley, temperatures mid-60s, 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe some fog along the coast, but yeah, another nice, cool start to the day for many of us. The summer heat I've been talking about, it's not here yet. It should still be a pretty pleasant day for most of us. Again, you can clearly see the spin of that area of low pressure, but that's moved over Nevada and no longer really having a huge impact on us. Now, when we look at the HRRR forecast model, all it's showing is clouds. It's not showing any rainfall at all for Modoc, Lassen, or Plumas counties. But if you see a stray sprinkle in those areas, don't be surprised. It's not enough to really cancel any outdoor plans over. But we're still seeing a lot of that fog along the coast and even making its way into some of those inland valleys. Struggling to get out of the 80s in the valley today, but I think some places in the north end of the valley could touch 90. 70s and 80s for the higher elevations and mid-60s for the coast. Your 7-day forecast is calling for those temperatures to kind of go up and down a little bit here at the weekend, but there's that increase. I'd say mid-90s, give or take, through a good portion of next week. For the coast, maybe a slight chance, even inland for your Sunday morning, otherwise dry this weekend, and also warming up a little bit here as we go through next week, and that's the case for the higher elevations. Temperatures should be somewhere in the low to mid-80s through a good portion of next week. All right, that's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast. Let's take a look at the latest on the fire conditions here, sponsored by Garmin's Tractor Service. And we're going to start with just taking a look at the latest on the fires. Now, the root fire, as of yesterday morning, 729 acres, 97% containment. We'll probably see some new numbers coming out of these fires. And, you know, with the rain that we've seen over this week, that has really helped. Now, some of the thunderstorms have certainly created a few problems in some areas, but for the most part, it's been a lot of just beneficial wet weather in the area. 78% containment for the Dillon fire as of yesterday morning. Again, we'll probably be looking at more updates here this morning. There you can see the blue fire as of yesterday morning, 3,625 acres, 54% contained. And we're going to take you now out towards the log fire as of actually 2 mornings ago. So, you know, we're not seeing many updates coming in, which is actually a good sign, even though we do have 0% containment on the log fire. The lick fire is 36 acres as of September 9th. So as of about 3 days ago, you can see 95% containment there from that latest report. Taking a look now at the peak fire, that was a couple of days ago too, that we got the latest report at 504 acres, 95% containment. And when we're not getting a lot of reports, again, reminder that we're just not seeing a lot of activity coming out of these fires. I mean, even the cedar fire, as of a couple of mornings ago, 91 acres at 95% containment. All right, so let's go and take a look at our fire weather risk here. And you know, the map's doing some kind of weird stuff on me sometimes. But bottom line, what I just really wanted to show you here is that we are looking at the fire weather risk just slowly increasing. It's been mainly green across the map this week. But now that things are drying out and warming up a little bit here, we're getting at least within that moderate range, especially for the valley. By the way, I had a wrong setting in the app. So I go to a section in the app where I can see where you submitted your photos. This one was August 25th. I never saw this until yesterday. So I was really bummed. So I was able to change some settings, and now I can see your photos. It's crazy. This is actually from not any lightning from this week, but from August 25th. Ken White sent in this beautiful photo. He was able to capture mid-strike. You got to love those. I mean, those are amazing to get. And most likely you're doing it with your phone. So that's kind of hard, with the timing. So that's pretty cool. So thank you, Ken White, for sending in that photo. That, again, was September 25th. Now, this was actually Wednesday's storm. This was in California Pines. I did show you some video earlier this week of this, but Bobby Jean sent this from California Pines, kind of a confirmation of another area in California Pines showing the hail and accumulating on the ground there from that thunderstorm. This is just a fun, great photo. It's the cranberry bean harvest, courtesy of Steve Cook. This is out in the Durham area. Steve Cook, that is, in the Durham area. And there you can see just doing the harvest there. Pretty darn cool. By the way, if you want to share your photos, you can very easily do that from the free Weather NorCal app. It's on your iPhone, it's on your Android. All the photos that you just saw were from the app. And unfortunately, even from over a week ago, or even a couple weeks. So I'm able to see your photos now. So yeah, do it. Do that. Share those photos. We love to see the photos, and we love to share those photos. So be sure to check that out. All right, here's your deeper dive forecast. Let's get you into it. So this area of low pressure right here is spinning away. It's over Nevada. We're on the back side of that. So we're going to see some clouds kind of rotating around it. It may bring a shower or two, or a sprinkle really, for Modoc, Lassen, or Plumas counties, but that's it. Don't cancel outdoor plans, folks, because it's going to be a nice day. We do have this right here. Now that's approaching, and it may eventually bring a sprinkle or two for the North Coast on Sunday morning, and for a brief period of time. Let's show you that on Futurecast here. So let's start with today. There are the clouds right here. Now you see, we're seeing a few showers popping up to our south. We're seeing a little pop up here or there, but overall it's dry. If you're out and about in this area, Modoc, Lassen, or Eastern Plumas County, and you run into a brief sprinkle, don't be surprised, but nothing to be concerned about. And there you can see some of the fog that we're still kind of seeing hanging out around the coast. Now, Saturday morning, fog along the coast, even making its way down to Garberville most likely, but elsewhere we're looking at dry conditions. Now Saturday, a little pop-up here or there. Look at this. We're seeing a little bit of maybe a sprinkle activity here for Siskiyou County. So once again, you're out hiking Saturday, beautiful areas to hike in Siskiyou County, right? You may run into a brief sprinkle. You don't even need to bring the poncho. I wouldn't do it. It'll be kind of refreshing probably with that hike. So that's really what you're looking at there. And really anywhere else in the higher elevations, that certainly could be the case. But look at this right here. That is what's going to be approaching. It's really breaking apart. But you can see by 8 o'clock Sunday morning, it starts to hit the North Coast. Del Norte County, you have that typical angle here. So the farther south you go, the slimmer the chances would be for even a sprinkle for Sunday morning. And then it's dry for everybody else. I mean, it's going to be dry even for the coast by midday on Sunday, and even in the afternoon as well. All right, so, we're talking about the cool and unsettled weather pattern we've been dealing with this week. We're going to go into a drier pattern, and that's what the long range is showing here. We're going to be looking at better chances of seeing below normal rainfall, and we also expect to see those warmer temperatures working their way back in. However, we're going to see that little bit of our dip in the temperatures here as that kind of pushes on through Sunday, but then after that, high pressure is going to kind of move on in. Now the thing is, I think the ridge will be its strongest around Tuesday, Wednesday. Temperatures mid-90s on average for the valley, but then that starts to kind of retreat a little bit off to the east, and temperatures may drop a little bit toward the end of next week. In fact, I'm seeing the potential for us to drop back down into the 80s for the valley by that next weekend. So toward the end of next week into that next weekend. But overall, we are expecting warmer than normal conditions here in that longer range. In fact, here's your 10-day trend. This is what I was talking about. The little dip on Sunday. Temperatures kind of peaking out just slightly above normal. I mean, the normal high for Redding is about 94 degrees. So 95, 96, I mean, that's barely above average. But look at that. There's that next weekend. That's what I was talking about. Possibly looking at upper 80s by the time. So yes, we're warming up. We're seeing more summer heat, right? But overall, I mean, it's really not going to be that bad. All right, take a look at those lake levels here, and there you can see we're still above that historical average, so things are looking pretty good there as well. So let's take a look at our wave heights. They're getting a little bit higher this afternoon, but I do expect them to retreat going into your Saturday. So no big concerns there, just some patchy, dense fog in some areas here, especially in the morning. North winds at 5 to 10 knots, your waves from the north at 5 feet at 6 seconds, and from the northwest at 2 feet at 10 seconds. So here's your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. All right, we take a look at the Trinity County. Temperatures 80s for the most part. You can see about 76 for Mad River. I don't have any rain for you. Maybe some clouds on Sunday, but that's going to be the extent of it. Warmer going through next week. Your Dignity Health North Coast neighborhood forecast, I've got the word chance in there, and mainly in the morning. If you see anything, it's going to be few and far between. It's going to be very light, nothing to be concerned about. 86 degrees for Orleans for your Friday, 87 out in Hoopa. We take you out to your Dignity Health Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. I've got you dry for the next 7 days. Temperatures warming up towards the middle of next week, back into the mid-80s, but then dropping again after that. Your Modoc County neighborhood forecast, we've got temperatures in the mid-70s for the most part, although Cedarville about 70, 73 degrees in Eagleville. I've got the word chance in there for El Tourist, and I've got I don't have the word chance in there elsewhere, but I mean, we could see a stray sprinkle or two for parts of Lassen or even Modoc counties or even Plumas counties. Your Dignity Health Valley neighborhood forecast to the south, temperatures mainly in the mid-80s for mid to upper 80s for your daytime highs today. And then temperatures increasing a little bit on Saturday, a slight dip on Sunday, back up in the low to mid-90s through a good portion of next week. There's a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast to the north. And yes, some of us may touch that 90-degree mark for today, but for the most part, I think upper 90s, upper 80s, that is, not upper 90s, upper 80s. 85 degrees for Whiskeytown, 85 degrees in Lakehead. And there's your 7-day forecast for Reading. Those temperatures are warming up next week. But again, this is nothing major. The normal high for Reading's 94. So we get up to 95, 96, no big deal. But then temperatures should start to slowly drop toward the end of next week. And that's your morning update. I'll be back again at noon for a quick look at your forecast, and then again at 6 p.m. with a deeper dive look at the latest forecast models. Until then, have a great morning.
Construction season is well underway in the Northstate, and we'd like to remind drivers to slow down around work zones. Keep Caltrans workers safe when they're on the job, and remember to be work zone alert when you see the color orange. Remember to pay attention to signs, merge early, avoid distractions, and don't speed. This message is brought to you by Caltrans District 2.